Hello, Big Reds. This is Mr. Fischel speaking. Right now we're going to be doing the Unit 5 test review. So the problems I'm going to give you are similar to what's on the test. However, they're not the exact same problems that are on the test, okay? So we're going to start with special right triangles. So if I'm going to start off with this triangle right here, notice that these two angles are marked as congruent. That means if they're marked as congruent, these are 45, 45, 90 triangles. So if this side was 7, okay, this would be an example of a test type problem. If this was 7, this side would be 7 as well, and this would be 7 square root of 2. Remember, these sides are 1, 1, square root of 2. Okay? All right, you may have a problem like this. Maybe they're going to give you the same type of triangle, 45, 45, 90 triangle, but we'll give you that this side is 12 square root of 2. This side is 12 square root of 2. These two sides are going to be 12. You see this is a 1, 1, square root of 2 triangle. Okay. All right, now what if we had a different type of triangle? What if we had a 30, 60, 90 triangle? Here's an example of one of those. Right, that's 60. That's 30, that's 90. So if this side was, for instance, 7, okay, I'm using 7 again, I guess. To get the hypotenuse, I'd have to double it. So this side would be 14, and then this side would be 7 square root of 3, because this triangle is a 1, 2, square root of 3 triangle. Okay, remember, the 2 x is the biggest side that's on the hypotenuse. Just like over here, the square root of 2 is on the hypotenuse. I'll do another one of those type of triangles. Now sometimes these triangles can be flipped around, okay, or reflected, rotated, etc. So let's do one like that. Let's say they give you the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is 10. Well, if the hypotenuse is 10, that's the 2x side, right? The 1x side would be half of that, which is 5. And then this side would be 5 square root of 3. This is the x squared of 3 side right here. Okay? So on the test, you're going to have 4 problems that involve special right triangles. Now let's try something with Pythagorean theorem. Let's say you're leaning a ladder against a wall, and they tell you the ladder is 15-foot ladder, and the ladder is 8 feet from the wall. So first of all, you'd have to label it. So if this is a 15-foot ladder, 15 feet goes on the diagonal, and if it says it's 8 feet from the wall, we're going to put 8 feet right there. And let's say we want to figure out how high the ladder is going up on the building. So this will be our x. All right, well in this case, this is Pythagorean theorem. The right angle always points to the hypotenuse. So we'll use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. In this case, x squared plus 8 squared equals 15 squared. All right, x squared, 8 squared is 64. 15 squared is 225. Right? Then if you have numbers on both sides of the equal sign, you're going to have to subtract. We'll subtract 64 from each side. I canceled that out, so I'm left with x squared on this side. Let's see. I take 225, and I subtract 64 from that. It's going to give me 161. Right now we're going to take the square root. In this one I'm not going to put in simple stratical form. And x is approximately 12.7 feet. So this is not a simple stratical form problem. Okay? All right, so you have one of those type of problems. All right, let's do a trig problem. We're going to have 5 trig problems on the test. So let's try one. Let's say you're driving up a hill. This is like one of the problems on our sheets we did previously. we're driving up a hill. Let's say the hill is 12 kilometers and the grade is 10% or 10 degrees. What's the horizontal distance? Horizontal distance. That's what we want to know. First thing we have to do is we have to label our triangle. When we do that, if I'm going up a hill, the only side of the triangle is going up a hill would be here. This is 12 kilometers. This grade is 10 degrees. And the horizontal distance, we're going to put x. Think of vertical as up and down, so this is going to be horizontal. Now what I would do if I wasn't sure is I would label my sides. I know the right angle always points to the hypotenuse, and this is going to be the adjacent side. So I have an A and an H. I use my acronym SOHCAHTOA to help me remember. If I have an A and an H, the only one that works is CAH, CA. That means I'm going to use cosine. So I'm going to take the cosine of 10 degrees over 1 equals A over H. That makes a big difference. We've got to put the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So that's going to be x over 12. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to figure out what the cosine of 10 is. Okay? In order to figure out the cosine of 10, make sure you put cosine in your calculator. Okay? Remember, this is a regular trig function. It's not an inverse trig function. So you put the cosine of 10 in your calculator. And you get a big number, and we want to, a big decimal anyway. We want to use 4 decimal places, so it's going to be 0.9848 over 1 equals x over 12. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but the numbers on the bottom, we're just going to cross multiply here. If the number were on top, we would divide. So we're going to take 12 multiplied by 0.9848. It's going to give me x is about 11.8 kilometers. Okay? And that makes sense because this leg is almost as long as the hypotenuse there. Okay, good. All right. Now let's see. Let's try another type of problem, another trig problem. We got to practice those trig problems. They're important. Okay. Let's try a problem that looks like this. X, let's say this is 12 feet, use 12 a lot I guess, and this is going to be 53 degrees. Okay, first thing I want to do, label my sides. So this is the opposite, this is the adjacent. Because you see this side does not touch the 53, that means it's opposite. This is the adjacent, it's touching 53. And the hypotenuse, there's nothing on that side, so we won't use it. So using SOHCAHTOA, we have an O and we have an A, so that means we're going to use tangent. And take tangent of 53 degrees over 1 equals O over A, x over 12. So on a calculator, I'm going to hit the tangent of 53, press enter, and I get 1.3270 over 1 equals x over 12. Again, in this one, the number happens to be on the bottom again, so I cross multiply. I take 12 times 1.3270. You get approximately 15.9 feet. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, we're going to stop right now, and we're going to continue on video part 2.